Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter and Aron Stevens.
Willkommen, bienvenue. Welcome all our friends to the show that never ends. We're so glad you can attend. Please subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/The A Show and twitch.tv/The A Show. How did I do on that, April?
You kicked ass. Did you think you were not going to kick ass?
We always have a debate. Yes, this is our second show, but we've always like, hey, do you want to take this out? You know, after we go into that awesome intro, which Colin did for us. Like, who wants to be the first one to talk? What do we do? We're still trying to figure these dynamics out. So she took the first one. She's like, you take this one. And I had to kind of pull that out of thin air. And I'm just glad that I said everything right. And I also have my notes with Patreon and Twitch, the subscriptions. And glad I'm going to shut up now.
I take it you're deferring to me now. You're putting the pressure on me.
Oh, no, there's no pressure. I've done the intro and you'll do next week. So you have to top that. How's that?
Okay. Hey, you know, we women love to talk, so I'm cool with that. So I would like to say thank you, Aron, and thank you to everyone listening. And if you hear my doggie barking, she's over here underneath my feet, and she loves to occasionally make herself known. And also thank you to Colin for doing so much for us and Hammond Media. And so we have started to ask some of the fans. This is our second show. We didn't get a chance to cover, obviously we covered a lot on our first show, and if you watched it, appreciate that. We asked the fans some questions, and we got some interesting answers as to what they wanted us to answer. That doesn't make sense, but you know where I'm going with. We asked questions of what they wanted to hear. We got some interesting answers back. So everything from what etiquette irritates you that needs to be addressed to somebody asked what our weirdest Valentine's situations or dating situations were, since we just had Valentine's Day not that long ago, to what people are doing right and wrong regarding relationships and dating. So where do you want to go with this?
Well, So, and by the way, yes, we're a few weeks removed from Valentine's Day. We both have red on. We did not plan this. So that's just kind of cool. That just happened. So yeah, I tell you what, when we get into the relationship thing, I'm probably going to be silent because I have more issues than Rolling Stone. And I admit it though. I completely admit it. I'm, working on me. I've been single for about 3 years, and we're heading down the path to a better me, shall we say. But you know what, I'm going to make this, and when we've talked too, like, I have always been kind of a private person and closed door when it comes to my personal life, which is just something that's kind of comes naturally to me. But I am going to try to be a little more open with everyone in terms of just what I'm feeling personally. I'm not going to share any kind of stories, name names, or do anything like that. But I, just my own personal journey in relationships, what I've learned, things I would have done differently, and all that good stuff. But so Valentine's Day, I will share with you involving Waffle House cannolis. Not cannolis at Waffle House, but Waffle House and cannolis. This was 2004, I believe. OVW. Anytime WWE was in the area, we would go. Like a bunch of us would go to the show and just pretty much sit there and eat catering. There was really not that much of a point to it. But okay, they just so happened to be in the area on February 14th for Monday Night Raw. A bunch of us were going to Cincinnati, stopped at a Waffle House on the way up. Stopped at the Waffle House. As the day progressed, I became slightly ill and then violently ill. I was
How
dating.
ill were you?
Oh, you're about to find out. I was dating a girl at the time in Kentucky, and she's okay after TV, come to the house, we'll do a little Valentine's thing and whatever. When we found out we were not doing anything at TV, surprise, surprise, they brought out these cannolis and catering. So I had a cannoli. And because I was still feeling like, am I going to be sick? Am I not? When I ate the cannoli, it must have triggered. I got food poisoning is what happened. Like bad food poisoning at Waffle House. Because it was.
I think we figured that part out.
Yeah, like it was. And this is, by the way, I am a big fan of Waffle House. I'm not trying to. I have eaten at Waffle Houses thousands of times since then, and will continue to eat at Waffle Houses in the course of my travels. This is just, sometimes you go to a restaurant, you get food poisoning. It happens.
God, I love Waffle House. Yes.
And so the cannoli must have triggered something, because I proceeded to go to the stall in the men's locker room and violently, I'm talking exorcist projectile, the worst vomit. I mean, it was like Old Faithful. Like I felt like it was like that power of like Old Faithful, the geyser that just, I felt it in the depths of my soul come out. And I mean, I'm talking it when it hit the bowl, there splash and thing. There was a whole Edge was in the bathroom and like he was checking on me. I was so sick. There was no way in hell I was going to drive home. I couldn't. I physically had everything I could to leave the arena, pull over to a hotel. I got water, Gatorade, one thing of Gatorade, but then remember those gallon jugs of just flavored whatever, like they come like grape, orange, fruit punch. They even make them in blue, like an orange one.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally just sat in that hotel room, and it was, we're not gonna put out there what happened. You can use your imagination. It was the sickest I have ever been and ever will be off of food poisoning. Needless to say, when I got it out of my system and straggled in, I wasn't living with this woman, but I made it, known that, look, I was sick, this and that. She didn't necessarily believe me when that is absolutely what happened. And I'll say this, like, I'm pretty much, I'm a pretty straight up person, right? Like I'm not going to have another girlfriend somewhere that I'm going to spend Valentine's Day with. If I say we're going to spend Valentine's Day together, we're going to do it, barring any unforeseen circumstance, like me being possessed with some kind of a food demon. Now, here's the real tragedy that has come out of this. Since then, around 2004, I have not been able to enjoy cannolis. I haven't had, like, when I get around cannolis, I just, they're the most unappetizing thing to me because of this reason. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
That's awful. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have a good specifically Valentine's Day dating story per se, but I have some weird dating stories in general. Almost all of them stem like from online dating. Surprise, shocker, right? But I've written about some of those on my blog. One year, I never online dated before. And yes, people like me are on online dating. And I know that's not meant to sound egotistical. It's not, but everybody looks for a date. And I have heard that before. They're like, huh? Yeah,
I'm a hermit.
You live in LA. You're going to be like up against like supermodel dudes and like professional athletes and like Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
So that's your competition. They're all on the same apps as you. So yeah, I get the whole, why are you dating online? Why are you on here? Like, can't you just like walk out of your door and stuff? Well, no, I'm very introverted, first off, and I'm not really, I don't go to like the bars or anything like that. So it wasn't really my jam. So the first year after I got divorced, I realized I was just kind of sitting in my house a lot. And I decided to give it a go. So I tried the Match.com thing. Holy shit. So so the messages you get on there, you practically have to be, you kind of have to almost give up your job to field them if you're a female. And I'm not saying that's me. I think that's any female. I've talked to all kinds of women and they've like they get inundated. And thank God the woman who came up with Bumble where it's just women. You know, like they can choose what they want, but apparently she's one of the first few female billionaires now as of like this month for that.
Congratulations
So,
to her.
right? I know.
Yeah.
Figured a dating app, right? Figure I'm in the wrong business. I remember this one guy, some of the guys on there were relentless. One guy was reclining half naked with I forget, I want to say like a soccer ball over his junk.
Like
And he
Burt
just kept,
Reynolds style, like
in a way, yeah. And he kept messaging me when I kept saying no thank you. He kept messaging me. He was like a, I don't know, 50-ish year old, I mean, he's built well, Spanish dude. And he kept saying, you're missing out on passion. If you want real passion, you would give me a chance. And I'm like, no, I'm cool. Like, I'm good.
mhm.
You think it's done. It's not done. Another message comes in. But don't you want to experience life's passion? Do you not want to try real passion? Like, he just kept going and going and going. And this is kind of like a theme with online dating when you're not like that has been a thing. So this past year, I had a guy, it was about I don't know, a year ago or something, online. And this dude ended up being, I don't know what kind of crazy he was, but he was out there. So he ended up kind of like stalking me and then stalking me and then stalking me and stalking me, like from every angle, changing his phone number after I blocked him to do it another way. So it's like you meet all kinds of weird, interesting people through this. So it's like it's difficult to that's not necessarily a Valentine's Day story, but it's challenging. And you also meet a lot of wonderful people too, but you never kind of really know what you're getting into. But what I was going to tell you is that you're kind of doing it right. So taking time off, not
Are you talking to me or Colin?
you.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, you're doing it
Mark this
right.
date, everyone.
So you're taking time off to work on yourself because they say that you have to become the person that you want to date in order to get where you want to be, to attract the person that you're looking for. So a lot of times, not that anyone has asked for dating advice, but I can give it. Should I give it?
Please do, because you're awesome at this. I've listened to no, but like your interview a few weeks ago. No, there was honestly, like, this is for our listeners. You're about to get a pen and paper or hit record, whatever you all do, because you're about to get some knowledge dropped on you. No, it's and look, I've talked to you about stuff.
Right.
You know, just through regular conversations about everything, and it really really helps. And trust me, if she can help me in that department, which has always been an interesting department in my life, she can pretty much help anybody. So yes, please. I'm gonna just mute right now.
They're funny. Okay, so my theory is that you have to take time off between relationships, because when we come out of a relationship, we're messed up, whether we want to admit it or not. A lot of people are in denial, like, oh, best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody. No, we're not. That's not what you should do. You should take time off because you've been through a lot. And likely you've been through a lot going on for a while before the actual breakup happened. So you take the time to heal. And it's like being an athlete. You say you're like, pretend you're a football player, right? You go out there and you sprain your knee. Now you're coming out of this relationship with a sprained knee. So you can tape that up and go right back on the field again. But the first real good hit you take, you're going to end up with your ACL is going to be torn, your MCL is going to be torn. You might even screw up your back real good. Or if you take some time and rest, ice, compression, elevate, give yourself a little time to heal, and then go back out, you're ready. So when you come out of a relationship, you've been kind of through the ringer, depending on what you've been through, how it ended. Different people are at different levels. But everything is made up of energy. Everything. Everything. And there's a reason, like, you walk into a room, you can feel the energy, you can feel the vibe. You know, you walk in, you can kind of feel if you want to be there or not. You meet people, you know, if you like them right away or not. This is us feeling energy. So when we have high energy and low energy days, and we ourselves carry energy a certain way. We have literally an aura, and people pick up on that. Whether it's conscious or unconscious, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't make it untrue. So when you're coming out of a relationship, your energy is really kind of low. It's low. You're vibrating at a very low frequency. You know, you've been through the ringer. And if you go right out and try and find somebody right then, here's the problem. Like attracts like. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you've come out of something crappy or you're feeling crappy and you're vibrating at 3, you're going to attract a 3. And if you jump right in with somebody, you move in with them, you quarantine with them, they're pregnant, you're like attached to this person now, you're attached to a 3. Maybe somewhere along the line, you kind of maybe improve yourself. You take some classes, or you heal, or you get a different job, or you get past that point. This person is still a 3. You're up here at a 7. And you guys start realizing this person's holding you back. They're jealous. They're doing the same thing your last person was doing. And you're going through it all over again. And then they're bringing you back down, and you guys split up and you're back down around a 3 again. And then you go right back out and find somebody else, and you find another 3. And you just keep repeating and repeating and repeating over and over again. And that's what most people do, I think. Whereas if you give yourself time, give yourself 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever you need, give yourself space and time.
3 years.
Give yourself 3 years, whatever you take. Give yourself time to be who you want to date. Go back and do the things that you used to love to do when you were a kid, before money and a paycheck got involved. Go and find your friends again. Those people that you used to hang out with before you ditched them for a relationship, or your girlfriend said, oh, you can't hang out with them anymore. Go enjoy your personal space, and go be who you are. And when you get back up to a 9 or a 10 again, then that will bring you a 9 or a 10, and you will have met your equal.
God, that's amazing. That's such a great way to look at it. And, just to your points, number one, anyone who may be listening to this saying, oh, that energy stuff that's a bunch of BS. I challenge you to go to what quantum physics has proven, and is continuing to prove as far as energy goes, in terms of how cells vibrate. And that right there will kind of prove what you are saying is correct. And now going past that, with relationships, I have known people that, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, I'm just saying that it simply is, where when they get out of a relationship, they are, quick before you can even have a chance to breathe. Mm-hmm. And some even kind of, when one relationship is on the outs, they're already looking to fill the void, so there's no gap. And I don't understand how that can be healthy, because when you're looking for something, whether it's validation, whether it's just someone to be with, it can't be healthy, because if you lose your sense of identity and you don't know who you are, then you'll never ever be able to fully be in a relationship, which is kind of how it's so paradoxic in that way. Where you had a quote on one of your interviews that I thought was amazing. It was, some people are looking to have their needs met, as opposed to looking to be in a relationship, which is, the melding of two.
Yeah, they say they want a relationship. They think they want a relationship, but realistically, they just want their needs met.
Yeah. And a lot of guys are the same way. Like, I mean, honestly, a lot of guys, you know, it's very like, oh yeah, I just want to have the hot girlfriend and not have to, you know, to go out in public and just like that does exist. And I'm sure it
Women do
exists
it
with
too.
women.
Women do
Yeah,
it too.
you know, so it's very interesting, right? What attracts us to people and how we choose to conduct ourselves. Because I mean, again, I very much appreciate females. You know, that's my thing, right? But I can't be in a position to where I'm going to like, okay, let's be in a relationship or even kind of casually date, because knowing that I am not where I want to be at. Now I have, and we've talked, like I have super high standards for myself, but where I'm at in life right now, part of that is just, it's honoring that. It's acknowledging that, no, I want to be this, right? Or be this kind of person or be in this, whatever it is. And like being grounded enough to say, you know what, that's okay. Like, I don't have to have a significant other because I'm on my journey. And at the same time though, you know, I don't want to be closed if the right woman comes along and shut her out. So that, and that's one thing in the past we've talked about that I've done that. I've been so like blindfolds and where I've worn out the possibility of ever dating. But now I'm like, no, this is my journey. This is what I'm doing. And you never rule the possibility out. It's just not at the forefront of what I'm trying to do right now. So that's my kind of, you know, the balance between the two that I'm trying to find right now. So what do you think about that, Dr. April?
Well, you said a few things, so I'll address them. First off, there are a lot of factors that go into a relationship, and a lot of people discount timing. So you could have everything right. So you could have a connection, you could have everything kind of click, but the timing isn't right. And that really matters. And for men, it matters, I think, more than women. We are raised differently in that. Whereas a lot of men kind of think that they have to be, it depends on the man too, but a lot of men think that they have to be more established before they look for a mate. Whereas women are open, I think, more to having a mate at any particular time if the right one comes along, or the wrong one at times. And you said the words fill the void, and that is accurate. A lot of people are absolutely looking for a way to fill the void, whether it's Netflix or alcohol or weed or another person, and jumping from relationship to relationship. And that first relationship, you know, those first 6 months, that dose of adrenaline and oxytocin, that is as addictive as heroin, you know, and a lot of people thrive off of that. And that's, you know, when things get settled down and boring and they're just like, the responsibility. And I've always said the worst line in cinematic history is, "You complete me." It's horrible. So it's like, it was, people took that to heart on Jerry Maguire, and it's like, this is not, I've seen it said and repeated so many times. And
I thought that was Austin Powers. That's why I went like, but didn't, he said that.
He did say that too. Yeah, I believe they used it on that one too, I think.
Because I've never seen Jerry Maguire. Sorry.
With Mini-Me.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So, like, that was the whole thing. Yeah.
Yep, Mini-Me. So I was like, hang on, Bella, calm down. She gets jealous. So
hi, Bella.
Her ears went up.
Oh.
So yeah, I think the point is, as somebody very much wiser than I am told me, you are supposed to be like this delicious, awesome cake where you can stand alone. You don't need anything else. You're just awesome. And then somebody else coming along is like the optional frosting. Like, you're good by yourself, but you could also have some frosting, but you don't need it. And then the third thing I was going to mention in there is, a lot of people never get to a really deep level because they're afraid to be vulnerable. And vulnerable involves intimacy, and intimacy is not sex. So any two animals can have sex. There's, you know, anybody can fuck. Any animals fuck. It's procreating and sex, there's no real mystery or art to it. I mean, there can be, but I mean, for the most part, it's so simple. Anyone can do it. It was
Yeah.
So the hard part is intimacy, which is people say into me see, being vulnerable,
Ooh,
letting
never heard that.
someone, yeah, letting someone see the real you, because that's scary when you let them see who you really are and taking the chance that they're still going to accept you and still want to be with you. That's really scary because we're all weird. We all
Yeah.
have quirks. There's something wrong with all of us.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
letting someone see you cry is a lot more intimate than letting them see your boobs.
So wow, that is deep. And no, as a man, like I've had several issues like where I just vulnerability is not something I do well, to where years ago there was a situation where someone stole a family member's identity on Facebook and was trying to, so like I've shut out Facebook completely until very recently. And I kind of was just getting on WWE TV and everything like that. So I had this thing where I didn't want people to know about my personal life. And in the past, in past relationships, I've wanted to keep a relationship private. And it wasn't from a place of like I was embarrassed. In fact, quite the contrary of who I was with. I just thought in my mind at the time I was doing the right thing, protecting them. And in hindsight, that probably wasn't the best thing. Because again, I was taking it for like, okay, I'm protecting them. That's just what I need to do. But to be a little more conscious of other people's needs, like what was going through her head, what was she thinking, and I admit I could have been better at that. And then there like I've had two major relationships where like I was contemplating spending the rest of my days on earth with another female, and or a female, not another female. But so again, in looking back on that, and you're reflecting, and you can, I should have done this different. This should have been done differently. And when you said timing, my last one, that was completely a timing issue because I was in not a good place. I was very much trying to feel okay with me and trying to like figure out what was going on. And by the way, I don't think I've ever talked like this before. So, but again, time, like right person, wrong time, but then again, the same can be said for really every relationship we're in, because if we were our ideal self, maybe, we would have be able to handle things differently and be able to just interact differently and not see things the way, because I mean, it's, you can say, and I can say this, right? You can have right person, wrong time.
Yes.
Right. And we have said it before, like 10 minutes ago, but it is so true. And I think sometimes when people, if a relationship doesn't work out and they try to blame themselves, don't blame you, right? Because wherever you are, and this goes for man, woman, in your life right then and there, you can only do the best you can with the knowledge you have. Right? The knowledge you have of how people interact, the knowledge you have of what you think is right, what you think is good, how you think life should go. And it's okay if it doesn't line up with someone else's, idea of how life should go, how life should be. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Oil and water don't mix. It doesn't mean either one of them is bad. It just means like they're in different states. And one person is in one state, be it mentally, emotionally, whatever, and it doesn't line up with someone, it's nothing against the individual, nothing against them. So it's not a matter of like, oh, no one wants to date me, this doesn't work out, it's my self-esteem. No, I think it's, we all need to continually work on ourselves as individuals, but at the same time, as we learn more, like we can only hope that we can open up to a point where we can let someone in enough to have a healthy, lasting relationship. Does that sound completely off? Because I never thought I'd be talking about things like this. I really have no knowledge of anything because I haven't had a successful relationship in my life. So there you go.
First off, you do have knowledge because you have had relationships. Secondly, no relationship is a failure. That we use that word, and it irks me because all relationships are technically a failure until they're not. And only I think Americans use the word failure for relationships. They're not. Everything we go through makes us who we are now. So
Mhm.
they're not failures. It's a learning experience. It's a lesson or a blessing, right? So, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm a big proponent of amicable breakups. Sometimes you have two good people that are just not a good couple. They
Yeah.
just aren't. And there's no need to get shitty about it. Sometimes it just doesn't work. And
Yeah.
honestly, love is not enough. It really is not. You know, a lot of people place a high value on love and romance and not enough, you know, it's all this value on love, sex, and romance, and not enough on compatibility, values, future plans. And they say opposites attract, and that's true to a degree, but it's not true to another degree. If your values and morals are the same, you have a really good chance of surviving. You have a really good chance of being a good match. So you could be as opposite as they come. You could be from Poland and Africa. And if you have the same morals and values, if you both are eco-friendly, if you both spend money the right way, if you both have the same views on raising children, if you both have the same worldviews and political views and religious views, chances are you'll survive. If you both have a similar idea of what your future looks like, it doesn't matter how opposite you are, you'll still make a good match. So a lot of people don't take that into account when they're looking at somebody. They're looking at, you know, what does their ass look like, and how well, what needs of mine are being met, what are not being met, what is this person doing for me. You know, I kind of have to look past all that.
Yeah, selfish. It's selfish as opposed to giving, right? It's the attitude we touched on this last week, to where I think, and look, we say this is not. I will wave the Star Spangled Banner. I will sing the Star Spangled Banner and tout the wonderful tidings that I believe truly the USA does deserve, because I still hold true to the fact that I think we live in an amazing, amazing country. So, but when we say America in particular, how we're very individualistic, more so than Canada, even, which is our closest neighbor, right? So, in a relationship, if you can think of, you know, you try to think of the other person first, even when it's hard, right? Like one of the, you know, one of the books I'm reading now, it's about in life, and it's not just limited to relationships, but in everything. Like think of romantic relationships rather, but think of other people first when it gets difficult, when it gets hard, right? When we're feeling good and it's all, oh yes, I love you and I'm going to do this for you and that for you, but no, like if we've had a bad day and we're, you know, really just not feeling our best selves, if we can get out of our comfort zone just a little bit to say, you know what, and here's the trick, right? You pause. Whatever you're doing, it takes 2 seconds to pause. 2 seconds is not going to make or break you unless you're running a race, which the majority of us are not running races when we're having relationship problems. When we're running a race, we're engaged in an act. But if you pause and say, okay, what can I do for you? It like overcomes that. All right, I'm having a bad day. It doesn't go, I'm having a bad day. I'm not my best. No, you. What can I do for you? That sometimes can be listening. That sometimes can be just helping in some way. Get the door for someone, you know, for God's sake. Just like it to me, right? If I'm having a bad day and I'm going into a store or something like that, I try and I seek this out. Maybe this is, I think it's good, but I'm not trying to say this to sound whatever, but like, I will try, okay, get the door for someone, say hi, be nicer to the person checking you out than you normally would. Ask them how their day is going. Try to treat someone else kindly, more kindly than they would normally be treated, just to see. And it works, you know, all the time. If I'm feeling bad, or just smile. I know depending on with
Mhm.
masks and things like that. It can be different, but just try to get outside of your comfort zone when it's difficult to do something for someone else, which includes, but is not limited to, romantic relationships. That can snap you out of a funk faster than anything else, and I firmly believe that works. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've always found that when I'm in a crappy mood or crappy energies, just kind of
mhm,
saying thank you over and over and over again
mhm,
seems to kind of change my energy.
yeah,
And you said what can I do for you? That works to a degree, but you don't want to give up who you are and kind of have a codependent situation. You don't want to give up who you are for somebody else. You want to make sure that you still have boundaries, but that's probably a whole different show. But yes.
you have to have the I first. Like, what can I do for you? You know who you
Yes,
are. Like, you
yes,
know who you
yes,
are. You're grounded.
yes,
You make the conscious choice to say, okay, I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to
yes.
try to help you. And to me, that's where I would think philosophically, that's where a relationship would actually mend. You have two opposites coming
Yeah,
together to form a third, and that's the union that is a romantic
yeah,
relationship, right? That's where the blend comes in, and you can learn to appreciate each other's differences as well. um my last relationship, the one was very different than me, and I appreciated everything about it. It was great. I enjoyed it. And it was the case of me not being ready to be in a relationship and be the best version of it. And that was it. But I appreciated the difference. It was cool.
yeah, yeah. I listen to people when they talk to me about their relationships, and there are like little things that are really easy to pick up on that I don't think they realize they're saying. Like sometimes I noticed women do this a lot too. They'll say my house or my this or my that instead of ours, we. So if you're not thinking of your situation as we and ours, that is
Mm,
that might be
mm,
Freudian, but you are definitely giving a lot away. Then a lot of people complain again about what they are not getting instead of focusing on what they are getting. So if you feel like you're not getting something, chances are the resentment there, which is the killer of all relationships, is being projected, and the other person might deliberately be not giving you something because of the criticism and resentment that they feel towards you. So if you just decide to kind of let that go and do something for them, like you said, just do something for them that makes them happy, they will probably do something back for you. And then maybe you guys can have a conversation, or you know what I mean, get into a better space. But if it keeps being a resentment situation, it's not going to be good.
mm.
And another thing I always advise is learn your person's love language. So
There's a book on that, right? Is it the
yep,
five languages of love?
some people are
Five or
words of
seven or something like that?
affirmation. Yeah, 5. Some
Yeah.
people like gifts, some people like words of affirmation, some people like acts of service. There are different things. Just because you like to be appreciated a certain way doesn't mean that's how they like to be appreciated. So sometimes there's a big discrepancy there and people don't understand that. So take the test and figure out what yours is, have them take the test, and that helps a lot too.
Have you ever seen the movie A Bronx Tale?
If I did, it was
Chaz
a long time
Palmieri.
ago. Yeah.
There's a scene in it where Calogero, I think, is the main character's name, right? And he goes to Robert De Niro, who's the big kind of boss. And oh no, not it wasn't De Niro. It was De Niro was the dad. Chaz Palmieri is the big boss, and he's like, you got to give her the test when you first date. Open the door for her. Walk around the car. If she unlocks the door for you, that
Uh-huh.
that means she's a keeper. And it was funny because I have this weird thing with me, where organically, and it's not like we go to Costco on our. I've never taken anyone to Costco on a first date, but if
Mhm.
like you go to a store, um, see what they do with their shopping cart, provided that they have a shopping cart, because I'd usually volunteer to push it. But like, whenever the situation comes up, see if they're the type that will return their shopping cart. That's a big thing with. And I don't know why. It always is like, it's very telling, that and how they treat waiters and waitresses.
Yes, it's a morals and
That's a
values
huge
thing.
deal.
How
Yeah.
people act on the surface, it's a morals and value. It shows their morals and values. So even the pettiest fights we have, like the dumbest, pettiest fights we have, show a deeper moral and value system. So there, whatever's here is actually stemming from down here. And that's why I said morals and values being aligned matter. So if you're fighting over, say, how much hot water you're using, right? And, say you're fighting about how much water you're using. That can come from the fact that maybe one of you is very eco-conscious and the other one is not. And you have two different morals and values. So you're going to keep fighting about stuff like that, like how much toilet paper you're using, how much you're leaving the light on, all this stuff, because your morals and values do not align. So either you're going to have to meet in the middle or you're just not going to work. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, my test, I have a couple of those too. So how you treat the wait staff, and if you hold the door, if you open the car door for me, my dad used to say, never date a guy that doesn't open the car door for you. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And it's funny because, and that's a good rule in not relationships, but in life, how people treat people that are perceived, not that are, but that they perceive to be, I don't want to say underneath them, but they don't have to be nice. When people don't have to be nice, do they choose to be nice? And by the way, if anyone out there is listening to this that is rude to their wait staff, just please unsubscribe right now because I don't want to talk to you. But I'm kind of kidding, but I'm kind of not. But like, what I want to know is like, how come?
I used to be a server. People could be really rude.
Yeah,
or not tip. A lot of
makes no
sense.
Tip. Yeah, no tipping is terrible. Always tip. Always. You never know, and because sometimes servers have bad days too. But I never, like, what doesn't compute in my brain, and like we said, I have more issues than Rolling Stone, but I'm going to be rude to someone who's going to touch my food, who is going to have access to my food prior to me eating it. I'm really going to go out of my way to be nice to them, even if I didn't want to do that anyway. So like, I like to be nice to, go out of my way, make a conversation with a store clerk, right? Because that's one thing. But like, if someone's touching my salad before I get it, I don't want to find other things in that salad that are not exactly described in the menu, if you know what I mean. So
you will.
use your brain.
I remember doing that deliberately sometimes when people went out of their way to be shitty to me. Their fries might land on the floor and then end up back on the plate and stuff like that. I don't know. Something like that might have happened.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
But that's Hey, it's the world we live in, and we are all free to do as we choose. I choose to be nice. I choose kindness. Speaking of which, we actually put out a question or a questionnaire on our social media about etiquette, pet peeves, like things like this, like what are things that people don't like? So do we want to address that now? Do we want to?
Yeah, I got one.
I've got one. Okay.
I've got one.
All right. What do you got?
Left lane drivers. Lane drivers that won't move over. That's it. It's a law. It's a law in almost every state that you have to move over. It's a passing lane. You have to move over and let people pass you, even if you're going over the speed limit. A lot of people are like, wow, I'm going over the speed limit. This person behind me should be happy, or they're like, want to hit their brakes. No, that's illegal. You have to move over and allow them to pass. And there's a reason why, because passing on the right is called improper passing. That's also illegal and is unbelievably dangerous, because we have a horrible blind spot on our right compared to our left. And with all the merging traffic coming in on the right as well, this is why there are so many accidents. So if you look at all these speed-related accidents out there, that is a misnomer. Speed-related accidents, more of them are caused by slow drivers than fast drivers. They now know that higher speed limits and faster drivers are safer areas and safer drivers than slower drivers. So the Autobahn has no speed limit. They're only hardcore iron, oh no, iron fast, whatever you want to say, rule.
Ironclad.
Thank you. Thank you. Their only ironclad rule is that you cannot travel in the left lane. You have to move over. Because you'll einfahrt, ausfahrt.
And that was German, by the way. That was not a.
Yeah.
It sounded like another word in American, European, but.
Was ist das für einen Scheiße?
Yes, exactly.
But you cannot, you have to move over from the left lane. So, and there are barely fewer accidents compared to the US highways. So, and this is a law, and I don't understand why people don't know it. And it's a danger. So that is one of my pet peeves for etiquette. Go.
Wow. Very good. Very, very cool. And you know what? You just educated all of us.
Maybe.
So let's see. I'm looking through my Twitter here. Okay, I'm going to try to find people that walk down the middle of a grocery aisle, or those who stop to chat in the aisles. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Especially now, and again, for those of you listening to this is February of 2021. Where there's still kind of the COVID thing is still kind of happening. Let's remove COVID from it. The grocery store or whatever department store, if people stop and are blocking the aisle,
yes.
Is it okay? At what point can you say, "Oh, excuse me"? Can you be conscious of other people around you? Oh, excuse me, we're having a conversation. Or do you say, "Hey, let's take this, past the checkout line, or let's take this to the book section of the grocery store, which hardly anyone goes to anymore, like the little magazine thing, something like that." Like, is that what you do?
Oh, I hope you don't drive like you shop.
Yeah.
No, that used to drive me up nuts before COVID. It's like, be aware of your body. Maybe that's a wrestling thing. Like, we're aware of our surroundings at all times. We're aware of the body. Like people who go and pick up their medication at a drive-through drugstore, and then they just sit there after they've gotten their shit, and they put their card away, and they put their medication away, and I don't know.
Oh yeah.
What they do. It's like, pull forward a little bit and let the next person do their stuff. Stop being what I call, don't be a time thief. There are so many time thieves out there. It drives me nuts. Nuts. So I have a girl here, another model, and she wrote, this one's interesting. People who refuse to read or listen when the information is clearly there. For instance, I listed a pair of heels on sale online that they were size 8. I instantly get a message asking me what size the heels are. Okay, this drives me crazy too. Like, people are so trigger happy to send a message instead of just taking a second, slow down, read the information. Just slow down and read the information.
Very, very true.
That's so lazy. Time thieves. These are time thieves. And if you don't get back to them, don't be a time thief. Time is the most valuable resource in the world. You can never get more back of it. You can never get it back. Like on our deathbed. On our deathbed, wouldn't it be great if we could cash in? Like, you're dying, say you've got whatever you've got, and you're on your deathbed, and then somebody comes to you and goes, "Okay, time thieves stole 2 years and 8 months of your life. Would you like it back?" And you think about all the times you were in a line and somebody was having a conversation, or some asshole was texting and the light turned green and only 2 people got through, or some jerk was in the drive-through and didn't move forward, or some dickhead sent you a message. It's a message when all the information was right there. All of those seconds and minutes add up to like years. Don't be that person. Don't be the person in the left lane going 3 miles over the speed limit or under the speed limit. Move over and let us pass.
Yeah. And
time's
it's
valuable.
Funny. I'm looking through a lot of mine right now on Twitter, and a lot of this is traffic related. A lot of this is, and we actually had one repeat itself twice from 2 different people. When you open the door for someone and they don't say thank you.
Yes.
Here's my perspective, what I'm now kind of like, this is just my own personal philosophy, right? When you do an act of kindness to someone, and I've heard if you expect a thank you in return, that in essence is a transactional act.
Okay.
So to where if I let someone go in traffic, if I get the door for someone, I consciously have to do this because at first I was, I'd be like, what the hell? Like, you don't say thank you, but it is what it is. You do the kindness for them, and then the kindness will come back to you if you don't expect it. If you expect, oh, they didn't say thank you, and they don't say thank you, or if you expect them to say thank you, they don't say thank you, then that was a transactional act you did, and thus it cancels itself out. So for me, I will always say thanks. If someone lets me go in traffic, I give them the wave. If I'm in a parking lot and I'm crossing a street and a car stops, hey, yes, pedestrians have the right of way, but you give them a wave. They're in the 2,000-pound machine, and guess what? They will win if they choose to hit the accelerator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I hate when pedestrians have the right of way, but they don't seem to like hustle their ass across the street.
No.
Like, like they seem like they almost go slower. It's like, okay, you got the right of way, but move your fat ass. Okay, come on.
Like they don't. Go. They're on the iPad, the headphones on, and they're just like.
Yeah. Just make it look like you're trying to cross the street instead of holding everybody up. Come on, time thief.
Yes, absolutely. That is rude. So don't be one of those people.
Yeah.
If you are able to briskly walk across a crosswalk or a parking lot, just maybe try to do that safely. And obviously if it's a person with any kind of like an ailment, or they can't walk or have a cane or a walker, that's a different story.
Correct. We already know that.
But no, this in my opinion, this has nothing to do with political correctness, because here's the thing: walk as fast as you safely can to get your ass from one side of the street to the other safely, where no one's going to be harmed. And if you're able to, give a fucking wave and say thank you. That's it. That's what we're chomping at right now, right? That's the point we're trying to make. So
here's one. This is what it gets me nuts, and apparently other people too. For some reason, people stop at a light and they allow like 1, 2, 3 car lengths between them and the next car, and this in turn blocks people from going into the left lane, and they miss the left turn lane. So you could have the left turn with 2 cars in it, totally empty, because people in the 2 lanes going straight have blocked it off because they're allowing car lengths in between them and the next car. Florida too. And we have down here 6 and 8 minute lights. It's like almost 2 minutes each turn. So this, to me, it's like, what is wrong with you? Be dedicated to the line. Like, I'm from up northeast. Mm-hmm. Like, this is an opportunistic, advantageous kind of growing up, where if you give someone an inch, they're going to take a mile. You give them a car length, they're pushing their car in there. So you would never dream of leaving a car length. You know how it is in Massachusetts.
And I lived in Puerto Rico.
We drive like mass holes.
Yeah, but I lived in Puerto Rico for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And wow, I tell you what, you talk driving, and the thing about, because I didn't have a car in Puerto Rico, so I was driven everywhere, but my fingernails were like biting the armrest, because I had no idea. It's like, if you get to an intersection, whoever honks their horn first goes. And like, but there's not as many rude people there. Like on the island, like there's not as many traffic laws, but everyone's just like, okay, honk the horn, go. Like there's this chaos, but everyone knows somehow where they're going, and it's okay. So it was the coolest thing to watch, but I would never want to drive, because I'm admittedly not the best driver in the world. I drive, I'm like, just sometimes I'll go fast. Most of the time I won't. I'm just kind of like chilling, doing my own thing. But you know what? I really have not been in many accidents, so thank God, knock on wood. Whatever you do for that.
There you go.
But yeah, it's crazy. Like, people from the Northeast, different breed.
Yeah, they are. And they're usually, I mean, like, oh, well, never mind. I'm not going to go there with that. I'm just going to say usually
watch for finger.
Well, just no more of a capable breed. So The driving up there seems like I go back home anywhere, and then because I grew up the whole Northeast from I spent time from Maryland up to Massachusetts. Plenty. I lived in all those places. Speed limit's faster. People are more capable. They're more confident. They can drive. So, they don't. And then you go somewhere. Yeah, we lived in Louisville. Louisville had some of the worst drivers I've ever seen until I got to Florida, and Las Vegas was pretty scary too. But Las Vegas, everybody is stoned and drunk and in a rental car.
Yeah.
They have no business driving at all. Like they're not from Vegas. Florida is really bad, like really bad.
Florida's something. Yeah. Florida is, it's an interesting state, but
it's really bad.
God, I love Tampa. Oh,
yeah. Let's see. I'm looking at some of the other ones here. Somebody made a good point. They said people that don't know how to have an actual conversation, they just talk at you. And I have noticed a lot of that. And I hate to say this, but primarily I've noticed this with women. Like conversation seems to be, I don't know, like they don't pause so you can get a word in edgewise. They're not actually listening. They're just waiting for a chance to talk, if you're allowed to talk at all.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can't see, because I think you're on the big screen right now. My camera's not as up to par as yours, so I don't know what I look like on your screen. But I'm in the little box up there, what I can see. But my whole demeanor just changed.
No, you're on the big screen for me. You're on the big screen.
Oh, that's so weird. Okay, but I had an incident over a year ago. And I am usually pretty cool, right? Like I live and let live. And I always think, okay, maybe this person had a bad day, but at the same time, I'm human. And at the same time, I was pretty upset. I had purchased a bag, like a check bag, like, a big check bag for the airport, a roller bag. I needed one. I was starting to travel again with NWA and everything like that. It was just, okay, it was time. I have my little carry on with my gear and then my big bag for all the things. Now, living out of a suitcase for as long as I have, and you can attest to this isn't something that we take lightly. Given the previous yes.
It takes a long time to find the right bag. It's like marriage.
You have to get the right bag, right? You have to.
There are things you're looking for.
Yep. And we all have different needs, but you got to get the right bag.
Yep.
So I found one, I thought. And then I did some more research when I went home, and I'm like, if I put all my stuff in, and I always leave a little extra room in case you get something on the road or something else needs to go in. And it wasn't the right bag, so I went to go exchange it. No problem.
Like marriage.
Yeah, kind of thing. I've never been married, but I've heard. So I go, this was Nordstrom's Rack at the Blackstone Valley Shopping Center in Millbury, Massachusetts, because my family were from a small town called North Oxford, Massachusetts. And that's where we grew up and everything. So we go to Millbury for the shopping outlets. Hello, I'd like to exchange this bag. And it was right after Christmas. I think it was between like Christmas and New Year. So people were still buzzing with the holidays, right? You still had the lights up. There were still, the instrumental version of Deck the Halls playing in the background. And I was just happy. I was happy to be home. I was happy for an amalgamation of reasons. And I just, again, trying to be nice to people. This is a clerk at a store. This person seemed to be in high school. And I go, hi, hello. Hello, excuse me. I am at the checkout line, right? Wanting to do some stuff, right? Like this person was on their phone. They get off their phone. Still not mad. Hi, how are you doing? Can I help you? You having a good day? What's going on? When I say like there's complete lack of having a conversation in any kind of social dynamic to where, and look, you know me, right? And by the way, this will be discussed on another show, but like in terms of getting old, that's not something I want to do, right? I mean, we use grapeseed oil, we use like, this is not, and it's a mentality thing too, right? we can be more wise, but we don't have to become like an old sage. We can still hang on to the positive aspects of youth for as long as we possibly can. And that's what I fully intend to do. So, I mean, you got to go with some trends, but there are some trends that completely suck. One of them being a lot. I'm not all, because I do know some children in high school or, millennial, whatever they are, Generation Z or whatever letter
You're
we're
a
on.
millennial.
Yeah,
Millennials get
whatever
a bad
we're on.
rap.
Yeah, well, whatever we're on, right? Whatever
Right.
the
Gen
generation
Z.
kind of like under us, right?
Hmm.
They really need to learn some basic conversation skills. Like, this is great. I firmly believe this is a miracle. Especially you can book as a wrestler, you book hotels. It's your GPS. You stay in touch with loved ones. So many great things can come of this. But when this becomes the focus and you lose touch with having to be able to interact with people,
Hmm.
and further than that, you lose touch with the rules of engagement. If you're a clerk, again, if someone says, "Hi, how are you obligated to say it?" No, but at least don't be on your cell phone when I'm standing there for probably at least 30 seconds while you're trying to put something on Instagram at the checkout line. And there's a line of people behind me. So eventually I got the bag. It's a lovely bag. And that was that. But I was really bothered by that. And God, I just hope people, don't lose their sense of
And
basic kindness. But hi, how are you? Nice to
I
see you.
don't
You
think
know what I
they
mean?
understand how bad it makes how it looks. It makes people feel like they're not worth shit.
Yeah.
Like they're not seen. It's a generation of being, wanting to be seen and heard. This is the generation that talks about it the most, but they're the ones that make people feel like they're not seen or heard.
Yeah. Because everyone's a
So
celebrity on here. You can post whatever. They have those fake things where you can go get pictures on an airplane like it's your own private jet. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You're going to pay money to go take a picture and post on Instagram like it's a private. Now, if this is for a modeling shoot, if this is something like that, that's a different story. I'm talking about regular people who can go give money to an animal shelter, go do whatever, but no other reason than posting something just for the sake of posting it. Like, when everyone knows you don't own a private jet, why would you do that with, your whatever Gucci, this Gucci, and
I
yet
don't know.
you live in, your parents' house? Like, I don't get that. There's a severe disconnect for me. And then, look, there's nothing wrong if people that live with their parent for whatever reason. Look, it's in an interesting place right now. So I'm not knocking anyone. I'm not knocking anyone's economic status or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, if you have disposable income, if you have the kind of money that makes you want to go and spend it to take pictures on a setting that looks like you're flying somewhere when you're absolutely not flying anywhere, maybe you can put that resource, the resource of, finances or financial blessings, because every penny we make is a financial blessing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Put it towards something else. Maybe do something nice for someone. Maybe, again, save an animal, give it to charity, contribute to a GoFundMe that's worthwhile. Just the self-absorption needs to stop. And this is coming from you and I, who are, I mean, again, we have been in like one of the most business, like a very
Self-absorbed
self-absorbed
businesses
business.
ever.
My God,
Yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
play fight in spandex, for God's sake. Like, that's a
Yeah.
super,
And make sure we look good doing it. Oh yeah.
yeah. So like, that's all. Just I'm going to shut up now. Off my soapbox.
Well, I have had the opposite situation with the lack of conversation as you, where people just won't stop talking. So most recently I had a friend from high school that I decided, you know what, we're not friends anymore. Like, I don't know why. We were friends, like you have the grandfathered in clause kind of thing. Sometimes you've known somebody for so long that they are friends by default. And I decided, you know what, I'm not doing this, because this woman said, anyway, long story short, I'm on the phone with her. I could not get off the phone for 45 minutes. And I remember reading the saying that if somebody wastes 10 minutes of your life, 7 minutes of it is your fault. And I kept thinking about that over and over again as I kept trying to cut her off. And she just kept overriding me. And then finally, I'm just like, stop. I have to go. she's talking to me like I know who these people are that she's talking. She's like, "Da, da, 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 da," and I had no idea. And I ran into this again. I got on, I was single for a while and I wanted to go out and do things, but I didn't want to date. I wanted to take a break and just, I've always liked being single. I wanted to focus on myself and my career and put myself first. And, but I also wanted to find people to do things with. So I got on Bumble BFF. I need to write a blog about that experience. So one of the people that I met on there seemed like maybe we would get along. Oh my God. So I met her at a shopping center between where we lived, and we decided to go down into downtown Tampa to go walk around and get some food. I always wonder what I'm going to tell people about what I do for a living and all that stuff. Well, I didn't need to worry about it because she didn't ask. Like, there was no word in edgewise. Like she didn't ask me anything about myself. She just wanted someone to talk to about herself, her kids, her life, growing up, her favorites, her food, her this. Like, she did not stop. And at the end of this, she's like, "That was really cool. You want to hang out again?" I was like, "I'll text you." And I had right then and there, I was just like, oh my God, is this what guys deal with their dates and stuff? Like, and then they have to pay for it on top of that. Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't know because, again, I haven't been on a date in several years, and I'm not on any dating sites. I never have, actually. I've never signed up to a dating site, so that's
No, you're not missing anything.
But whatever.
So there's a conversating and actually listening, not interrogating someone, not waiting to say something. Listening and hearing are two different things, really. Is something that I don't know, a lot of people can't really do. I think it's a basic human function.
Yeah.
Yet I don't think a lot of us are able to do it. So maybe that's something we can work on for this week. Really, like we mentioned on our last podcast, trying to hear people with different opinions, different views, people who have different backgrounds than we or you do. Maybe this week work on having real conversations with people.
That's great. And I just had an idea where if you're not following us on Twitter, please follow us on Twitter at _the show. When we do our weekly assignments, let us know if you choose to participate in the weekly assignment. Let us know how it turned out for you. Let us know if last week listening to someone changed your perspective or their perspective a little bit. And with this week, what was the assignment, April?
To have a conversation with no agenda, to have a conversation and not wait to speak, to not derail what the person is saying, to not change the course or direction, and to not just wait for your turn to talk, to actually listen to them.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then respond back.
Yeah, and this could be with a spouse, it could be with a parent, it could be with a child, it could be with anybody. So yes, that is the assignment, to have a conversation with no agenda, to listen. And you know what? Follow us on Twitter at _the show and let us know how it turned out, because we want to see if what we're doing, like when we decided this podcast was like, we don't just want to be, oh yeah, we're the podcast, like, subscribe to us, whatever, kind of a Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons, and then we hit leave and end the meeting and then go back. No, like, we want to actually try to have a positive impact out there. So let us know. And if you want to give someone else the assignment that we give you and it turns out good for them, report back to us and tell them to follow us on Twitter and all of that wonderful stuff. But yeah, just let's see about just every week we do a different act of positivity, whether it's kindness and compassion or something that will cost nothing, but perhaps a few seconds smile and whatever. So that's what we'll do. Conversation, no agenda, listen, and let us know how it turns out. And if you've done our previous assignment, again, let us know on Twitter how it is.
Yeah, my We would like you to be a part of the show. We would like your suggestions, and we'd like your feedback, and we would like your participation. And my dad used to say, "It don't cost nothing to be nice."
Yeah, yeah. Which I tell you, we have gone about another hour.
Yep.
Right, if my
So,
calculations are correct. Another week has gone by.
so yep. So
Colin, how
let
are we?
us.
Well, where are we time wise? Do we have anything else we need to say? April, thank you, by the way, for your insight. This has been amazing.
No,
Especially in the
thank you
relationship arena.
back.
Yeah.
Thank you back, and thank you to the fans for listening, and join us next week. And again, thanks to our wonderful producer Colin, and hopefully you guys will keep listening to us and giving us some ideas of things to talk about.
And please spread the word. You know, we're new at this, so if you like the show, tell a friend. If you don't like it, tell an enemy.
Everybody, bye.
Adios.